Hello, my name is Rebecca Joyce. I'm the Town of Windsor Senior Services Coordinator. I've had the pleasure of acting as the liaison for the Town of Windsor's Commission on Aging and Persons with Disabilities for the past 15 years. The Commission is made up of a very diverse and hardworking group of individuals who work very hard to enhance the lives of these well-deserving folks. We meet the first Tuesday of every month at the LP Wilson Community Center, and you can certainly drop in and join us during one of our meetings. We look forward to seeing you there. We are hoping to bring on some more members, so if you are interested in joining the commission, you can stop into the Windsor Senior Center anytime to chat with me further. I hope to see you soon.
My name is Kathy Roby. I'm currently the chair of the commission, and I've been a member for just about 6 years come January. As the chair, what I try to do is to make sure that everybody has a chance to suggest programs, to bring their talents to the programs that we look to provide to the community. I decided to join the commission because I have a background in community and public health as a nurse, which gave me an opportunity over the years to see what kinds of services and other programming was present and what wasn't. And then as I aged here in this community, I realized that there were things that I might be able to offer as a perspective, particularly as I became a little more disabled myself. I've lived here in this town since I was 2 years old. My dad taught us all from the beginning that if you live in a community, it's your responsibility to try to give back in whatever small way you can, and this is my small way of giving back to this town that I've lived in all my life. Amy?
Yes, thank you, Kathy. My name is Amy Silliman Avedisian. I was born and raised in the town of Windsor, although I spent a good portion, 20 years, raising my family in Newington. Interesting always to return to the town you came from, where you started. Currently, I am retired, but like Kathy, I have a history in healthcare, and I am a nurse. I have been involved in working for the Department of Public Health and investigating complaints related to healthcare issues. So I have heard and seen over the course of my working years lots of very distressing things about what can happen to people as they age if there is not some oversight by someone or some entity. So I was happy to be able to be part of this organization, and there's a need, and we are taking care of some of that.
Marcia.
My name is Marcia Brown. I'm currently a resident of Windsor, but I'm not like these two ladies, a long-term resident, although it's beginning to feel that way. But I moved to Windsor about 10 years ago. I was living in Hartford at the time because I developed a visual disability that prohibited me from driving at night. So I needed to buy a house that was in reasonable driving distance so that I could continue to work. So I was employed at the Bureau of Education and Services for the Blind for 20 years. And during that time, I primarily worked as a grant manager for a grant entitled the older Services for People Who Are Older Blind, which is defined as people 55 and over. So I became one of those people while I was working there. And so I've lived in Windsor ever since. And prior to that, I had worked in the field of disability rights in Maine and in Alaska. So that was my primary reason for getting involved with the commission, was issues pertaining to Windsor residents and disability rights.
There is a charter and a set of bylaws for our commission that were created by the town of Windsor itself. In those bylaws, what it tells us is that our focus should be on identifying services and educational needs for persons over the age of 55 who are aging in place, want to age in place, or who have disabilities and would like to remain within the community. And since that is our primary mission, the Commission on Aging and Disabilities focuses on that, and each year, as we begin our new year in September, we look at what needs we have seen personally or that other people have brought to us so that we can try to create programming, bring in speakers that will address that. I have to show our booklet. This is a project that we initiated 4 years ago, and it took us over a year to produce the first one. This is a resource book, and with the support of the town council, we were able to have these printed, and this year they're now available in English and Spanish. And it's been a labor of love and frustration and lots of phone calls. And it's something that we've relied on Marcia's expertise to make sure that both online and in print, we met the requirements, right?
Accessibility, print, yes.
And so Marcia's our proofreader and makes sure that we meet all the ADA requirements for people with visual handicaps. But it really has been a labor of love, and I think that's one of our biggest projects that we've done. Amy, do you want to talk about some of the Stay in the Community programs we've done?
I was actually thinking I'd mention one of our other older projects that were precipitated by an actual concern that came to us by a wheelchair-bound gentleman who comes to the town hall, or tries to go to the town hall for services. Because of his concern, we looked at the town hall and found out that if you are in a wheelchair, at the time, if you were in a wheelchair and wanted to have the services of, let's say, voting or talking to the town manager or other support staff, you had to enter via wheelchair at the lower level of the town hall. Once you got into the lower level of the town hall, there indeed was an elevator, but if you had an oversized wheelchair, you couldn't get in it. Or if you had a fear of elevators, you would not be able to communicate with someone up in the upper level. So we looked into what could be done to deal with that problem, and ultimately we were able to have a specialized button placed next to the elevator in the lower level, and when you press that button, it alerts someone on the first floor, working on the first floor, that there's someone downstairs who needs services. And now someone will come downstairs and meet with that person who is going to may have difficulty coming up the stairs. So that was one of the things that I thought was quite successful and an ongoing improvement.
It made a big difference.
Well, I think through the years that we've provided a variety of seminars on various issues, and some of the ones that I think were very successful was one called Slips, Trips, and Falls that Amy had a big part in establishing. Another one that I set up was one on hearing loss by a gentleman who runs a group for older people who have lost their hearing. And we made all the accommodations that were necessary for devices so that people could come that had hearing aids that could hear, or if they didn't have hearing aids, they could hear the presentation. And so I think we've done a number of these presentations. Last year we did one on educating people who were visually impaired or legally blind on the services that were available through our agency, and also other services that they were entitled to by federal law. So I think there's probably other ones that we've done.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Well, yesterday we had an excellent program done by the Registrar of Voters and the town clerk on the access rights for voters with disabilities. And it was very informative, providing all the background information on absentee balloting. It was excellent. I was very pleased with that. We have a panel presentation coming up on resources to enable people to stay in the community, to literally age in place. We have a tax prep program coming in January. What else? I'm trying to think what's on our agenda. There's so many of them. But we have a variety of things, and we're open to tackling most any topic that someone out in the community sees a need and can bring to us.
Well, each project is individual, but I would say that when a concern comes to us from any source and we are able to act on it, the quality of that individual's life and anyone else that has a similar issue improves. And I think that that is occurring. Also, we have a wonderful relationship with the senior center. So there is a give and take there where people who attend there regularly learn and have an opportunity to talk to us about bringing programs, and we learn from them.
I would add that I think that the majority of programs that we sponsor, activities that we get in, are aimed at keeping seniors active in the community so that they know what's going on, they know the resources that are available with them. In terms of the senior center, we encourage them to come to the senior center and participate in activities and just keep their minds and bodies active. In other words, aging in place. Mm-hmm.
I would just say that the one thing we all have in common is aging. It is an inevitable occurrence. So we would be wise to encourage everybody to participate in order for us to have the best possible understanding of the needs that we need to deal with. We find that there are things we would like in terms of our group that we don't currently have. One thing is we currently have no male participants. We have in the past have had one or two men participating. So that's something that we are looking for. There is other diversity. We have a mixed. So we have a gender issue. We only have females. In terms of race, we have a mixture of backgrounds. And in terms of age, the younger group, that age group of 55 to 65, is currently not represented at all in our group. So we would be looking for that type of increase in diversity.
We thought that if this program helps to encourage someone under 65 to come and be part of this group. I personally had my mother with me for 11 years. I know what it's like to have an aging member of your family and to be looking for resources and looking for help. And so if someone is out there who has a family member with them or may have or know someone who does, we need your life experience input on our commission because you have needs also. And all those families in Windsor who are trying to keep their family member home, if you join the commission, you can help to bring information and resources out to other people in the community who went through what we did for 11 years, trying to find what we needed to help us. So I think that that's part of why we want a larger group, a more diverse group, and we're hoping that as the Hispanic population grows in our community, that someone from that community will join us also.
the commission gives you personally, or any member, an opportunity to grow and learn more things about yourself and more things about what's going on in the community and with other people who are dealing with aging or the potential of aging. If you have limited time because you are perhaps full-time employed, or there are many things that our members do from home in their off hours, calling, following up, reading things that they'll report to us at a meeting. So that is something to consider. Also, you have an opportunity to be involved with the Senior Center, which you might not be involved with due to your work situation or lack of knowledge. So that is another opportunity.
I'll add one more thing, which is we meet monthly, and although, Kathy encourages us to attend in person, we do have the capability of people calling in and participating in the meetings via Zoom. So if somebody is using a wheelchair or can't drive at night, or, like me, then you can still participate actively on the commission without having to physically come to the building.
If you're still working, being part of a community organization always looks good on your resume. It shows that you care about your community and you give back, but that's the reality. We have to be honest about some things. But I think it's just the sense of satisfaction you get, knowing that you contributed, you gave something back. Many of us can't coach Little League, can't coach teams, can't do any of those things. Some of us are just getting old, some of us have disabilities, but we can all still contribute. And the health of our community is really contingent on all of us participating. And it's that you'll get back, just that feeling of satisfaction of knowing that you were part of something that was a little bigger than you. Well, as has been said, we meet monthly, the first Tuesday of the month. We start 7 o'clock sharp. We try to keep our meetings down to the 1 hour. As Marcia said, you can participate by Zoom if you're not able to make a meeting on a regular basis or on an individual meeting basis. Beyond that, it depends upon which projects you choose to participate in. I would say, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours a month.
Yes,
I think that would
agree with that.
Yeah, that's about the between prepping a project or coming here to participate in one of the programs that we've set up. I would say that's about the most that people have contributed is 4 to 5 hours a month. And it's not a big commitment, but it matters a great deal.
And we don't meet in the summer.
No, we don't meet in July and August. Our last meeting is in June, the first week in June, and then we take the rest of the summer off and start again right after Labor Day.
Our meetings, the 10 meetings that we have during the year, are open to the public. So anyone can attend, and everyone is welcome to do so during our regularly scheduled meeting. If there's a situation where we are voting on something, of course, someone who is attending as a guest would not be allowed to vote, but they certainly are allowed to voice an opinion.
Mm-hmm. And if you are there or you hear about a program that we're going to do, one of the best ways that the community can support us is by spreading the word, letting people know that there's going to be a great program on absentee balloting. And after that program is over, you should go on, the website, go to WinTV, go to the town website, because that was recorded. So the community can support us by coming to the programs, by spreading the word about them, and by letting us know what they need. everybody in the community may very well have an idea in the back of their head that is a great program that we can do if they would just share it with us.
Can you share a success story or personal experience that highlights the importance of the Commission's work?
Well, I mentioned the issue with the elevator here in the town hall. That's the one that comes to mind immediately for me. Kathy, did you have one?
The one that is nearest and dearest to my heart, I have to say, is this resource manual. The first year we put it out, it was a little rough around the edges. Each year as we revise it, it gets better. But this booklet, especially now that it's in Spanish and it's available in the social services office, all the libraries and other places here in town, any question that you might have, I need an elder law attorney, I need to know how to reach the Board of Ed for the blind. It's all in this book. And we work very hard on it. We divide it up between us, and we're so proud of it. Every year it gets a little better. And I think that has been one of the projects that is nearest and dearest to me. Marcia, you must have one.
Well, I don't really have one that hasn't been mentioned, but just talking about the elevator made me remember that when I was first on the commission, I was in the Geisler's parking lot, and I was handing out little flyers about the commission, and there was a gentleman anyway, I handed out this pamphlet to this woman, and this woman said, "Oh, I just took my husband who uses a wheelchair over to the town building, and he couldn't get in the elevator because his wheelchair was too big." So that, in my mind, sort of, that was my fuel to go back to the commission and talk to them about that button. I had that personal experience.
I actually had another thought, and it does involve you as well, Marcia. There was a time when Marcia and I spoke with some members of the town council about the safety of crossing in the center of town. So at that point, there were very few, if any, crossing lights. Many people were dashing, well, they still do, but dashing across the street without any guidance whatsoever. And subsequent to that discussion, perhaps not because of the discussion, but subsequent to it, there was a lot of things going on in the center of town related to safe crossing, and that continues. So I feel as if we had some impact on that.
I think that crossing situation in the center of town is one of the best examples. Now there are holders with the little flags in several places so that individuals who need to go slowly, need to be seen, can be seen. They can push that button, get the light to change, hold that little flag up and cross in a crosswalk and do it safely. I think that matters. I think it matters that when I first came on the commission, one of the first things I did was to walk around this building with Rebecca and look at, do we have the right kind of handles? Are all the signs in Braille? Do we meet all the requirements so that those with disabilities can utilize every square inch of this building regardless of their age? And that matters. And I'm really proud of some of those things. Some of them are small, many of them are invisible, but that's why we're here. It matters. We want to keep people here, aging in place safely, regardless of whether they're whole or disabled. But this is their town, and people want to stay, and we'd like to help them. New blood. We need new blood. We need new ideas. We did get 2 new members this year over the last 12 months, but we're hoping to see more. We need a couple of guys. We don't bite. And we really would like to broaden out the perspective so that we have lots of different viewpoints and we can continue to come up with new and different kinds of programs and ideas.
And I think going to the second part of this recruitment question, I think that, again, it is very important for anyone who wants to know about us, who's curious, who has something to say, ought to join us for a meeting.
Right.
You can reach out to our liaison, Rebecca, at the Senior Center here. There will be a phone number posted that you can use to call. If you go onto the Town of Windsor website, to the list of the commissions, if you go to the Commission on Aging, there's contact information there as well. And we look forward to hearing from you.